on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that brings forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Took me 29 years to find Jesus, and I made a video about it about a year ago. But what I was talking about was such a large time span that I couldn't include a lot of things that happened, because I didn't want to make the video too long. All my life, strange things happened to me, and sometimes I thought I was cursed. I broke my arms 6 times, or 5 or 6 times, before I was 17. Almost always both of the bones, Elle und Speiche, twisted and splintered, broken, completely destroyed. And this happened to me like 5 or 6 times before I was 16 or 17. One time I broke both my arms. I got salmonella, which is very rare in Austria. I got hepatitis C. I got myself addicted to the stupidest drugs you can take, out of peer pressure, because I wanted to be cool or whatever. So weird things happen to me all the time. And then after I was in the military, I got addicted to drugs again, and then I lost everything. Friends, girlfriend, all my money, my car, I lost everything, my health. And I became isolated, completely isolated, because I live in a rural area, and things have a tendency words have a tendency to spread. Everybody knows everything about everybody else. So I became very isolated. And in my isolation, after I was in rehab 6 times, and I was reading the website of this rehab, and they said the success rate is about 2%. And I met people who made it, who died afterwards because they had no tolerance anymore, and got out on the street, and they died within 24 hours of an overdose, because if you have no tolerance, you can't take the same amount that you were used to taking, not even slightly the same amount, not even a tenth of what you're used to can lead to an overdose. And I lost 3 friends by now because of this, and I could never figure out why. because I know that I was a good student and so on. And why isn't it possible to overcome addiction? And Derek Prince laid it out very uh, he laid it out greatly. He had a sermon about demonology and spiritual warfare, and he said that the first stage of demonic influence in your life is depression, which is now a psychological term, which it is not. It is a theological term. The first stage is depression, then comes obsession, then comes oppression. You can't resist it anymore. You are oppressed by it. It presses you down. And the last stage is possession. And at the very end of his sermon, after 1 hour and 56 minutes of his sermon, he says, and in my opinion, the last stage of all of this is the so-called illness or disease of addiction. And this was mind-blowing to me because I didn't know a lot about um, this stuff. And so I got into meditation, Hinduism, yoga, and I did it like if I see, I searched for a way out since it started, I wanted out, 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 out. I did everything the doctors told me. At the end, I had 15 prescribed medications at home when I was a 25-year-old healthy young man who should be working or having fun. I was at home taking my prescribed medications by these gods in white who think they know everything. Psychiatrists, psychologists, doctors, and they're poisoning you if you take that stuff. Because I was in a circle of people who was in the same situation where I live. I knew of others, and most of them took the medications they got, but I used to throw them away because I thought it's ridiculous that they prescribe me Seroquel for sleep. I mean, I found it out recently. Seroquel isn't even a sleep medication. It's one of the first antipsychotics from the 1950s or so, and that they're still prescribing that stuff for sleep medications. So after I was disillusioned enough, I began to search different areas, but I didn't believe in religion. I didn't believe in anything but having fun or something. I didn't even think about things like that. And there was a time when I was again trying to wean myself off of these prescribed medications. And the doctor prescribed me Subutex. And Subutex does not mix with morphine in the body. You can't take that stuff. It's like taking naloxone onto morphine. It punches it out of your synapses. So you go into withdrawal in turbo mode. And I did that because my doctor told me to do so, and I nearly died. I wanted to slit my wrist or something. The pain was unimaginable. And when I started to pray, that's when it happened. And I said in my last video, it was a fog that enveloped me, but it was more like a white cloud descending from heaven, which I didn't know about that at the time, But it is also mentioned in the Bible, a white cloud as the Holy Spirit descends upon, like a dove from heaven. And was a white cloud enveloped me, and this incredible, unimaginable pain that felt like you had injected yourself with diesel or something, went away like that. And that alone is a miracle. I don't know how this is possible. That pain like that can just disappear within a second. And within the white cloud there was this voice, not in my head like in meditation, not in my head, it was a voice from outside, which nowadays they call schizophrenia. If you tell that to a doctor, they prescribe you, I guarantee you, they would prescribe you anti-psychotic medications like Seroquel, for example. But if Jesus heard the voice of God, would you prescribe him an antipsychotic medication? So that was pretty eye-opening. And I thought about these things, and I heard a sermon by the most Reverend Fulton Sheen, and he explained the word diabolus or diabolic, and the word means to make a raft or to tear apart something, so that there's a raft. So you tear apart. That's the meaning of diabolic, and symbolic is putting together. And the word schizophrenia also means, phrene means spirit, and schizo means tearing apart, or have a double-mindedness or something like that. My first language is German, so basically it means the same as diabolic, schizophrenia. There is a raft between the two U's. So schizophrenia basically means the same thing as diabolic means. It's just a secular version. Psychiatry is just a secular version of theology. But they have no answers. The only thing they can do is prescribe more medications until you die. And that's euthanasia and not a cure. Oh, I begin to see the world with different eyes, and I never regretted it that he came to me, because he told me two things. You have to be patient, but he will never let you go. He will be by your side, but you have to be patient. You have to have patience. God is not a waitress. Satan is a waitress. He can do things for you like that, make you rich, whatever you want. But God doesn't work that way. That's also my criticism of prosperity gospel preachers. God doesn't want you to be rich. Why would God want you to be rich? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I'll end this video with my favorite Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And if your seed is as big as a mustard, if your faith is as big as a mustard seed, you will say to the mountain, move, and it will move. And so it is.